We're joined by Lord Jack McConnell for CD News. Thanks for being here with us.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, so can I just start off by asking, given the popularity of the Scottish Nationalist Party, do you believe that a referendum should take place for the people of Scotland to seek independence from Westminster? And would this ultimately be good for Scotland? And overall, how important is this question in Scottish politics?
I think it's maybe less important than it once was. I think in Scotland today people are perhaps more concerned about the current economic challenges that everyone is facing, the challenges of having an education system that can compete with the kind of qualifications there are elsewhere in the world, the need to keep an edge to what we do globally, given the financial and economic difficulties of the last few years. So I think maybe the constitutional issues are less important than they were a few years ago. My own personal view would be that at the moment what we have in Scotland, which is very strong autonomy within the UK, gives us the best of both worlds, rather than, I think, independence would be a huge risk for us. It would be a major upheaval, unnecessarily, in my view, whereas we can have strong autonomy, but also have the power, the scale and the presence of the UK batting for Scotland as well.
Okay. And during your speech you were mentioning the rising multiculturalism in Scotland, not just the traditional cultures.
Yep.
And so now that Scotland is the best small country in the world, I'm not sure, I might have a bit of a disagreement there, but what is the future of the Scottish brand, and to what effect will the multicultural aspect of Scotland be incorporated into this brand?
Well, I think it's vital that we display and convey a positive modern image of Scotland, not the image of Scotland as it was. We build on that history, which is powerful, and many connections all over the world. But Scotland today is different from 30, 40 years ago. We still have our great strengths in medical research and in education. We still have great resources, very strong tourism industry. But we also, today, modern Scotland is more multicultural, more diverse, younger. It's a growing population. It's an attractive place for a new generation, and I think it's vital that message is out there, and Scotland's international image reflects that. And in that way, we're going to attract the kind of investment and people that we need to make sure our country is successful in the years to come.
Okay. And Scotland is now investing heavily in the emerging South American markets. How important will markets in countries such as Brazil be in Scotland's future economic growth?
Well, I have absolutely no doubt that the global economy is changing, and changing really quite dramatically. Everybody talks about China and India, but actually the emerging economies in Brazil and Turkey, and I think in the years to come in Indonesia, potentially after the recent changes, maybe even in Egypt at some point. These are going to be strong, powerful countries, making a real impact on the international economy and on the international stage. So I think it's really important that we in Scotland, and actually other Western European countries as well, engage with those markets and don't just stick to our traditional relationships, or have a perception that because China and India are so large that they're the only ones that matter. The reality is that Brazil, Turkey, South Korea, these other countries are going to have a huge impact on all our lives, and with a proper level of engagement, then we can benefit from their growth just as much as they can.
And many people think that the Commonwealth Games are, kind of a waste of money, particularly after last year's Games in India, which went less than according to plan, shall we say. But London is expected to generate serious tourism revenue from the 2012 Olympics. How important do you think the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow will be to Scottish tourism?
Well, I think bringing the Commonwealth Games to Glasgow is really important for Glasgow, but it's also important for Scotland. The last time we had the Commonwealth Games in Edinburgh in 1986, they were underfunded, affected by a boycott, and some other problems too. And I think there's an opportunity here for us to host a major international sporting event and do it well, in a way that will confirm the modernisation of Glasgow that's taken place over the last 20 years, but will also be a chance to convey Scotland to an international audience. And in fact, that year we have not only the Commonwealth Games, but we also have the Ryder Cup golf tournament coming to Scotland, which has been a big boost in Ireland and elsewhere over recent years. And we, I think, can really showcase Scotland to the world through these international events in a way that would not be possible if they were not taking place.
Okay. And as your time as Prime Minister of Scotland, you had a cooperation agreement signed between Scotland and Malawi. How important is this agreement for both Scotland and Malawi, and in what ways has Scotland benefited from it?
Well, I thought it was really important that at the same time as I was aggressively promoting Scotland for investment and tourism and jobs, and for Scottish companies to be more global and export more and so on, that we also gave something back, that we didn't just take from the rest of the world, but we made our contribution. As one of the world's richest countries, we had a duty and an obligation to try and reduce global poverty and global injustice. We decided that the best thing to do with that was not to try and copy what the UK government were doing in straight aid, but to do something a bit different. And the partnership with Malawi came out of that. It's very much a people-to-people relationship. It's about transferring skills, I think, to the mutual benefit of both peoples. I think the Scots who engage with Malawi don't just become better human beings, but I think they'll learn more about the world and about themselves. Sometimes they develop new skills. So Scottish surgeons spending a bit of time in Malawi carry out operations they might very rarely get the chance to carry out in the UK. So people in Scotland can learn skills from working in Malawi as well as pass on skills. But the big benefit's in Malawi itself, and last year about 80,000 Scots made some kind of contribution to Malawian development. Malawi's moved from being in the bottom 10 of the world now to being in a much better position. Still huge problems of poverty and ill health and underdevelopment, but with, I think, the chance to move forward, and with our support, hopefully move forward more quickly.
Okay, brilliant. And just finally, Scottish traditions are still very much alive in Scotland. The language is still used and many tourists visit to experience the Celtic culture. What steps is the Scottish Government taking to ensure that these customs do not decline, and how important do you think it is to ensure that Scotland retains its unique cultural identity?
Well, I think, unless you carry out genocide or large-scale repression, I don't think you can abolish a culture. People have that identity, a culture that's really strong. The important thing is that they feel a pride in it, and they don't feel as if it's an embarrassment. And I think sometimes in Scotland in the past, people have been a bit embarrassed by our Scottish culture and a feeling of maybe inferiority or whatever. I don't think that's the case today. I think today we have created a new pride, particularly in the younger generation of Scots, in our cultural identity. Those who speak and sing the Gaelic language do so proudly and with encouragement from government. We see, for example, in the Highlands of Scotland, which used to be a place where you had to leave to get on, now people stay to do well. I think those changes have been really, really important, and it's partly been because we've been prepared through devolved Scottish Government to stand up for change and to stand up for modernity and for cultural diversity and for pride. And I hope that's going to be the case for many, many years to come.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thanks very much for taking the time.
Thank you.